In July 1932, the NFL awarded the city of Boston a franchise. The ownership of this franchise is given to George Preston Marshall, who owned a chain of laundromats in Washington, D.C. The team would play at the Braves Field, home of the Boston National Baseball Team, so they took on the name Boston Braves. The team had lost money their starting year, prompting Marshall to take full ownership. He moved the team to Fenway Park in July of 1933 and changed the name to Boston Redskins. The team's first success came in 1936 when they won the NFL's Eastern Division and earned the right to host Green Bay in the NFL championship game. Marshall was angry with the Boston fans' lack of attendance. He moved the game to Polo Grounds in New York. The Redskins gave up their home advantage and lost the game 21-6. The team would never again play in Boston. In 1937, Marshall moved the Redskins to Griffith Stadium in Washington, D.C. Under the glow of floodlights, the Redskins would become a success story. Marshall's ingenuity and foresight would bring about many new innovations, such as the first ever marching band and the first ever fight song, Hail to the Redskins. The band still plays it to this day, only remaining commissioned marching band in the NFL. The song is still heard every time the Redskins score a touchdown. The 1937 season was also the debut of Slinging Sammy Bogg from Texas Christian University. The Redskins' 6th overall draft pick would throw many passes that year and for many years to come. Bogg revolutionized the look of pro football offenses forever. He would play 16 seasons, most of it going two ways for 60 minutes a game, and he would pass for more than 22,000 yards. Marshall's ingenuity coupled with Sammy's arm would earn the Redskins their first NFL championship in 1937. In their first 9 seasons in Washington, they had never had a losing season. In that time, they won 5 Eastern Division championships and the NFL championship again in 1942. In the 1940s, the Redskins became the first team to have a radio station, and in the 1950s were the first team to have a television network, which made it easy for many teamless fans to follow a team. The Redskins would continue to move out of Griffith Stadium into D.C. in 1961. The stadium was named Robert F. Kennedy and would be their home until 1996. In 1969, Washington hired the legendary coach Vince Lombardi, who would guide the Redskins to their first winning season in 15 years. Along the way, they would lose Marshall, the man who molded the team. They would also lose Lombardi to cancer before the start of the 1970 season. George Allen took over in 1971 and was the head coach his first season. The following year, the Redskins would make it to Super Bowl VII. They lost to the Miami Dolphins 14-7. The Redskins dominated the following season, going 14-2 and advancing all the way to the Super Bowl. The 2 losses they had were combined 2 points overall. The Raiders unexpectedly thrashed the Redskins 38-9. In 1987, the Redskins had made it to the Super Bowl again. Ironically, the season was shrunk from 16 games to 15 games. This season, the Redskins went 11-5 and beat the Denver Broncos in the Super Bowl. The Denver Broncos started off the game 10-0. After that, the Redskins started off the second quarter with an 80-yard bomb. This quarter, the Redskins had 5 touchdowns. The game was over by halftime, score being 35-10. Their quarterback, Doug Williams, became the first black quarterback to earn a Lombardi trophy. In 1991, the Redskins dominated yet again, going 14-2 in regular season. Washington went right to the Super Bowl as they beat the Buffalo Bills 37-24. The game secured the record-breaking season offensive line that only allowed 9 sacks all season. Washington had earned 3 Lombardi trophies in a decade with 3 different quarterbacks. On March 5, 1993, Joe Gibbs, who led the Redskins to 3 Super Bowl victories and 8 playoff appearances in 12 seasons, resigned. He was replaced by his assistant. In 1997, the Redskins moved into a new stadium in Landover, Maryland. Cook passed away April 6, 1997, just before the opening of the new stadium. The stadium was named Jack Kent Cook in his honor. Cook's son took over the team and instructions to sell it were in his will. His son put a high bid in to keep the stadium, but Daniel Snyder put in a bid for $800 million. The stadium was renamed FedEx Field after FedEx paid $200 million for naming rights. On November 22, 2007, Sean Taylor, one of the best players in Washington Redskins defensive history, was shot in his home protecting his fiancée and his baby girl. This was a huge devastation for the Redskins and all of their fans. This is one of his highlights from a Pro Bowl just to show you how important he was to the team.
Flacco, put him in the dirt. Fresh got the shovel, he gon' put him in the earth. Trinidad maniac with an all-go.
The Redskins' 35-year semi-official mascot is Chief Z, or Zima Williams. Chief Z has been a fan his whole life, but is not officially a mascot. He had his first moment under the lights in the Super Bowl at Pasadena in 1983. Here are his moments in the light.
Crank up that diesel. Let's go diesel.
In my opinion, the Redskins' name should not be changed because of how many historic memories are behind it. Vince Lombardi being a coach, the first team to have an African-American man win the Super Bowl. Sean Taylor's death. I think it would be disrespectful to destroy the name of the Washington Redskins after all the history foundation behind it.
We are who we are.